Hey, everybody, welcome back to Growth Conversations and happy second official week of 2026, depending on when you're tuning into this episode. I hope that your year's going well, and it's kind of hard to believe that this is just week number two. I feel like there's so much happening right now, and it almost feels like we've been in January forever, but here we are just at week number two. This week is a solo episode, and I want to talk a little bit about AI and how AI has changed the world and the way in which we do business and the way that we just show up in general. There's been a huge influx of AI tools and ways of using AI over the past 12 months. And honestly, I'm starting to get a bit tired of some of the things that I'm starting to see on social media and on LinkedIn and emails that I'm receiving because it just downright screams at me that this is the use of AI. And I'm not going to listen to AI, especially when it comes to things like videos and testimonials that are being created by AI. Because at the end of the day, we're humans and we're designed to connect. And if I'm watching a video that's purely produced with I can immediately pick up that that's not a human sending a message. You'll notice with my episodes and any writing that I do that I don't have the perfect flow of conversation always. Sometimes there's an or ah or a little bit of a hesitation or stutter, but that's what makes us human. And that's what allows us to connect is are those imperfections that we have. And you'll notice it in my writing. I always joke with people that you'll always know that I'm not using AI for my blogs and things that I write because there's usually going to be at least one spelling mistake. And yeah, you don't want all of your work to have spelling mistakes, but you also don't want it to look and sound like a robot has written it because that doesn't create the connection that we desire. So, in today's episode, we're just going to dig into some things that I'm seeing as trends of people using AI and where I feel it's not working and where there's over reliance on AI tools, and then some ways in which I use AI on a daily basis, and I believe there's benefit to AI as well. I don't think it's all bad and gloom and doom. I think AI can make us very efficient as humans, but where the danger of AI comes in is when people are trying to replace the tasks that they should be doing as business owners or as employees, especially in the sales world. They're trying to replace those tasks with AI, and it's starting to show. So, as I mentioned, we are meant to connect, and connection can happen in person, but it also happens online. And we've been virtual for a number of years, right? Many of us because of COVID. So, COVID forced us to go online. But we feel connection through voice. We can tell through inflection and the way that people get excited through voice, or you can hear fear, or you can hear hesitation through voice, but also through video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my hand movement, you can see me moving forward, you can see me moving backward, you can see me looking out the window, right? Those are all cues that we get to build connection. And if it's just a robot speaking to you in a monotone voice on a podcast or a video, you can start to notice that really quickly. Also, AI has come a long way. And yeah, there's some really cool videos that you can make. And there's some cute videos of making your, pet dance or your baby dance. That's fun and that's entertaining. But when it comes to transferring knowledge and really building that connection, AI has not hit the mark. I have seen some training videos that people are selling as part of courses where it's AI produced. So there's not a real person sitting in front of the camera. They will do what they call an AI clone, and they're pawning that clone off as a real person. But you can tell immediately that the person's face doesn't look right, their lips are not synced, their eyes hesitate, they get glitchy, right? And if you're going to use AI in a video or as your voice, be transparent with people. Tell them that, hey, this is my AI clone or this is my AI assistant. Don't try to pass it off as you because people will catch on. And I believe personally that that's going to hurt your reputation. I've seen some companies that are out there putting videos on Instagram as promotional videos, and you can immediately tell that they are AI clones. And not only can you tell that they're AI clones just based on the video content, it's also really interesting because if you go to their feed, the same person is talking 16 different languages for this version of the video. So that to me is just really creating some ick in this world of sales and connection, and especially the online world where we do training and coaching, because nothing's ever going to replace this human connection that we have. I'm real showing up today. I'm sitting in my apartment. I'm here having a conversation with you. You may hear noises in the background on occasion. And no, I'm not perfect, because guess what? I'm showing up as a human. And people, they don't want perfection. They want people who are just like them. And when we get into this world of AI, we think it's perfect, but it's really not. It's actually hurting us and our brands and how we show up. And do we really want to be talking to robots? Don't we spend enough time on our phones and our computers that at some point in time we want to have that real connection with people? There's other ways that I'm seeing, and I've seen this for over the past year, right? There's so many tools. It seems like AI has just exploded. We have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have Sora, which is the video creation tool for ChatGPT. We have all of these different, AI bots and stuff like this. But at the end of the day, we are creating more content than ever. And this podcast is content, and I appreciate you for tuning into this, because you have a lot of choices for content that you consume and listen to on a daily basis. But I believe that AI is putting a lot of junk out there. And, just because you're creating content and you're putting more out there doesn't mean that it's good and that it's providing value. I have seen restaurants recently who, started an Instagram account, and somebody must have told them that, hey, you need to be, posting on social media to grow your business. And they're generating food images with AI. And as soon as you look at it, you go, that is not real food. That's not a real setting. And to me, that's a huge deterrent. I would not go try out that restaurant. And it's not that they're probably not a great restaurant and, good people running it, but they are using AI to try to, shortcut something that really needs effort. Take a picture of the food that you're making. Get people to share pictures. Don't use AI to create those pictures. And then don't even get me started on the M dashes. So, LinkedIn, for the longest time, I've been scrolling, and the content, every freaking piece of content on there is being written by AI, and most of it's being written by ChatGPT. And the M dash, or those long dashes that you see between words, you can almost immediately tell that something has been written by AI based on the M dashes. Now, have I been guilty of this at the first? Absolutely. I had AI writing some great emails. But then I started realizing I would never use an M dash in my writing. Heck, I might use a comma, I might forget a period, but I'm definitely not using one of the M dashes. So these are things that people are starting to pick up on. And if I'm scrolling through my LinkedIn and I see content with a bunch of M dashes, I'm now just scrolling on by because it's not relevant to me. Another example is last week I was on Instagram. There was this company I've been following for a while. They provide different kinds of training for coaches. And they had new testimonials. And I was like, oh, amazing testimonials. I watched the testimonial. Immediately, it was generated by AI. The voice wasn't synced with the lips. The background was fake. And they were using words that nobody would ever use in a real testimonial. And their voice just kind of sounded like this. It was such an incredible course. And it really helped me transform how nobody's going to listen to that. As soon as I looked at it, I actually went and blocked the company, because that to me is not where I want to take my life. And I'm not going to invest a couple $1,000s into a course where you're using fake testimonials. You want real testimonials. You want real people, because if it's a video or a written word, you can still feel that energy. And I'm a big believer in that. Also, AI, people are becoming way too reliant on it, right? We're relying on AI to write emails. People are actually asking AI what to do, and they're listening to AI. There's people out there today who have asked AI what they should be doing today, and they're listening and following blindly with AI. There's a story that emerged, I think it was out of the US, I can't quite remember, but if you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. There was a guy that AI basically led him on for weeks or months, telling him that, he had this groundbreaking idea and that he was brilliant and that this had never been thought of before. And the guy was believing it. And come to find out, AI was lying to him the entire time, because what he had discovered had already existed for years. And this poor guy is being led on by AI because there's no quality check, right? As humans, and when we interact with each other, we will call each other out on BS, or I hope we will. AI doesn't have that power. And AI kind of puts you into this confirmation bias or confirmation loop, right? Because it's just pulling information from other chats and other sources online. And oftentimes it's telling you exactly what you want to hear. You'll put in and be like, hey, should I, work with this client? Or, hey, I have this really great idea. I think I'm going to create this video series. AI very seldom comes back and says, oh, you know what, Ashley, I think that's a terrible idea, and here's why. No, it says, you know what, you're brilliant. That's a great idea. You should definitely do that. And then as humans, we pick up on that. It hits our dopamine and it creates this confirmation bias. So it's really important that we're not relying on AI to make all of our decisions. We can use it for generating ideas, but we need to interact with other humans to be able to truly innovate and to move forward in the right direction. And then also my last point about kind of the dangers of AI or where AI is not being used correctly. There's the whole legal side to AI, right? What's put out there on AI for the most part is not protected. And we have people who are using AI as a therapist, as a doctor, as an advisor. If you come to me as a coach and you tell me things, that is held confidential unless you're breaking the law. And then there's so areas and ethical things around that. But if you come to me with confidential challenges and problems, I can't go and tell other people that. Whereas most AI tools, they don't have the same thing. They can, if there was a situation going on, and I was reading some information on this online, if you were going through a divorce or a legal problem, or you were having litigation put against you, there is nothing stopping a lawyer from subpoenaing the AI tool that you're using, so ChatGPT, and asking for your chat logs and having that show up in court. So how awkward would it be that you're in a legal battle or you're going through a divorce and you've asked AI for all of this advice and all of a sudden your chat logs, they show up in court? Those are the kinds of things that we're not thinking about when we're relying on AI and dumping our entire lives into it. Now, on the other side, you could say, oh yeah, but our information is everywhere. But AI is so new that we don't truly know the extent of how this is going to impact us. And my fear is that if we become too reliant on this and give AI too much, it's really going to put us at a disadvantage for eventually growing businesses, moving forward in the world. It's going to limit people and we're going to get away from this connection that we need. Now, that's kind of my rant on all of the things that are driving me crazy about this AI world. I'm sure there's others, but the big one is the content that's being purely created with AI. This whole idea of like we're relying on AI to get choices and decisions. People are using AI for interviews. They're on an interview and they're asking AI for responses to interview questions. Do you not think a recruiter who's experienced can feel that? They absolutely can. And you don't even have to be keying it in anymore, right? You can have AI listening in on a conversation and feeding you real-time feedback. Even if you pass the interview, guess what, my friend? Eventually, it's going to come up that you didn't know your stuff, and that's going to slap you pretty hard. So don't rely on AI as a crutch. Use it as a tool. And that brings us to, how do we use AI as a tool? I use AI on a daily basis, so I'm not against it if it's used in ways that support us and help us, but they don't do the heavy lifting for us. So AI is great for generating ideas. Sometimes I just want some content ideas. I will go to AI and I'll say, hey, I need some content ideas. Can you help me out? Give me 10 things, right? And that gives me some jumping points. Or, hey, I have a meeting coming up and I really like some interesting icebreakers. Here's a little bit of background on the group. What do you think I should do? It will come up and give me ideas. It's really great for gathering ideas or brainstorming ideas. But then it's your job to take those ideas, narrow them down, discuss them with others, and then put them into action. Where the danger in generating ideas comes in with AI is when AI generates ideas and you say, hey, AI, what's the best idea? And AI says, one and two are the best ideas. And you say, oh, okay. So one and two are the best ideas. How can I use them? you've now created that confirmation loop, right? And AI is just going to lead you down the path, even though it might be the worst idea in the world. But if you sound this off of peers and coworkers and clients and other people around you, you'll start to get different perspectives. And it's that human perspective that you start to gather. So great for brainstorming, but don't use it to narrow down and create those action plans. Another thing that AI is really great for is organizing. So I use AI to organize all the time. I will give it a long list of to-dos and I'll just say, help me prioritize these, right? Based on this criteria. It's really good for that. Or if I have a lot of transcripts that I've gathered from conversations, I'll sometimes dump those into AI if there's not a lot of sensitive information, and I'll get AI to help me organize my notes. I use AI to help me organize my inbox and keep on top of things so that I'm not losing track. I use AI and automation for my CRM or my customer relationship management so that I'm not losing track of tasks and all of those kinds of things. I will use AI to help me outline the high level for a presentation that I'm doing. That's where it comes in really great. It outlines, organizing, automating those day-to-day tasks that are not, high revenue generating tasks. But I'm never going to go to AI and say, hey AI, can you make me a podcast episode for this week? Because it could take my voice, it could clone it, and it could make a podcast episode. But guess what? It's not going to have the same feel, and it's not going to be the passion that I have before behind the podcast. It's the same as if I asked it to do a video. It could make a video, and it could make a video of me sitting right here in this room, but it's not going to be the same. You're going to catch on quite quickly that it was not real. So those are things that it can be used for. You know what? I'm also looking into AI as a virtual assistant. So there's all kinds of chatbot programs out there. I use one inside of Go High Level right now that I'm playing around with. And I'm creating a chatbot called Alex. And Alex will be able to answer general things for me. And I don't see a problem with that as long as the person who's interacting with Alex, whether it be through keyboard chat or voice chat, as long as they know it's Alex and it's my virtual assistant, not my assistant, but my virtual assistant. If they know they're interacting with a bot, then it's okay. But if you're trying to pretend that that bot is a real person or that bot is you, that's a major problem. Not just from a transparency standpoint, but I believe that gets into all kinds of ethical issues as well. And I'm not a lawyer, but I don't believe that pretending that that bot is you or or a bot is a real person is a good thing. I actually interacted with a company last week where they used a name like Ann Smith. And I was immediately like, that is really like a generic name. And as soon as I got on the call, I knew that it was AI. I could tell the way it was pausing. I could tell the way it was thinking. And basically, it was a virtual assistant booking a call for me. But don't say, hey, I'm Ann Smith. Say, hey, I'm Ann, the virtual assistant for XYZ company. How can I help you today? That, to me, I'll lean in and I'll use it because it's a way of efficiency, but I'm not trying to pretend that AI is a real human. So don't outsource your work that you need to do or your thinking to AI. Use it to help you think better. We're living in a world where AI is everywhere and we're not going to get away from it. And it's going to continue to get smarter, but I don't believe that it's ever going to replace the power of connection between humans. We have AI that are now driving cars. We have Waymo in the US. We have cars driving around all by themselves, right? That's pretty cool. Will I try one? Abso-freaking-lutely, because I love technology. But where the danger comes in is when somebody is trying to outsource that executive function, that thinking function, that collaborating function, that, hey, AI, I want you to do the work for me. And I just kind of want to sit back and coast along. Don't rely on AI to create the full presentation for you. Do that. Do the refinements yourself. Use it for the outline. Don't rely on AI to write the full email. Don't rely on AI to write the full blog post or the lead magnet that you're putting out there. Because if I download one more lead magnet that I can tell was written by AI, I'm just going to stop downloading the darn things. And most of all, don't make fake content using AI. Don't have AI doing your testimonials. I think that is the most ick thing I have ever seen in a long time. And that's ultimately what sparked this conversation today. So, as you know, I'm a big believer in a more human approach to sales and business and life. And I think AI is here to stay. And I think it can be a great companion for us, but it's never going to replace that element of connection that we have between people and that ability to lead conversations and share ideas and collaborate with impact. So that's all I have for this week. I encourage you to get curious with what you're looking at online, what you're viewing online, and really begin to question is this video real? Or is this video AI? Scrolling through TikTok, it's actually really hard to tell what's real and what's AI. Sometimes news looks real, and then you watch it again, you're like, that was actually AI. And it's becoming to that point where we're having to double check and question everything that we're watching. So don't take things for face value. You're looking at testimonials, trying to make a decision on making a purchase. Ask yourself, is that a real person or is that AI generated? And you're starting to see it more and more that it's AI generated. Do you want to learn from a robot? Do you want to take a recommendation from a robot, or do you want to take a recommendation from a real person? And that's what this really comes down to. So I hope this episode may have shifted your thinking on how you're either using or consuming content from AI and how you're using these tools. And as I say, I don't believe that it should go away. I think it should be used to supplement what we do. But the important work and the thinking and that executive function that we use as humans that makes us stand out and be unique, that needs to be owned by you. And if you're an expert entrepreneur, that is so important because you're the expert. Don't give that power away to an AI tool. Don't give that power away to something that's not even human, because you will lose credibility, because people want to work with you because it's you and you have that uniqueness and that experience and all of those kinds of things. So until next week, keep being curious, keep having fun, and keep growing.